In the midst of the city's maze of alleys, between graffiti-covered walls and the acrid smell of asphalt, lived Miguel, a boy with sky-colored eyes and a timid smile. His home was the cold street, his blanket the starry sky, and his only companion, the echo of the wind whispering stories through the cracks in the buildings. Miguel carried with him a peculiar dream: talk to God. On cold nights, when loneliness pressed, he would lift his face to the sky, seeking answers in the eyes of the stars and comfort for his pains. On a gray day, like many others, Miguel met Lucas, another street boy, older and hardened by life's cruelties. Lucas, with his tired eyes and bitter voice, mocked Miguel's dream. "God is too busy with important things to care about a kid like you," he said. "Give up this fantasy and accept reality." Lucas's words hit Miguel like a punch in the stomach. He felt small and insignificant, as if his dream was just childish foolishness, but inside him a flame stubbornly continued to burn. That same night, while the stars sparkled like diamonds in the velvet sky, Miguel encountered Ana, a young volunteer from a homeless shelter. Ana, with her gentle demeanor and welcoming smile, approached Miguel and, noticing the sadness in his eyes, asked about his dreams. Hesitantly, Miguel shared his desire to talk to God. Ana listened attentively, her eyes brimming with emotion. "God is never too busy to hear the heart of a child," she said. "He loves you, Miguel, and is always by your side, even if you can't see him." Ana's words reignited hope in Miguel's heart. He looked up at the sky, now certain that his voice would be heard. Sure, a deep silence enveloped the night. Miguel closed his eyes, waiting for a response. Suddenly, a voice as gentle as the wind whispered in his ears. "Miguel, my child, I have always seen you. I have always been by your side, even in the toughest times. I know every tear you've shed, every fear that haunts you, every dream you hold in your heart." God's voice was like a balm to Miguel's soul. He felt a comforting warmth fill his being, and tears welled up in his eyes. "God," Miguel whispered, "I feel so alone." "You will never be alone, Miguel," replied God. "I am always with you. Inside you, you carry my strength, my light, my hope." Miguel listened attentively to God's words, absorbing every teaching as if it were a sponge. God taught him to overcome losses, handle failures, face fears, and discover the inner strength he possessed. One day, as Miguel walked through the deserted streets of the city, his stomach rumbling like thunder from hunger, he hadn't eaten anything decent in days, only crumbs and scraps from the trash. Hunger pressed on his chest like a handful of thorns driven into his soul. It was Christmas Eve, and the cold night air was pierced by the distant sound of bells and Christmas carols. The colorful lights in store windows seemed to mock his hunger and loneliness. Miguel felt even more helpless, like a castaway in a sea of indifference. Suddenly, his eyes fell upon a familiar object. Warm, soft bread in a basket in front of a baker. The ground was dirty. He hesitated for a moment, torn between hunger and disgust. But hunger was relentless, and he bent down, picking up the bread with trembling hand. As he bit into the bread, Miguel tasted something different, a heavenly flavor he had never experienced. It was as if God himself had blessed the food, turning it into a divine delicacy. Moved, Miguel looked up at the sky, tears streaming from his eyes. Thanked God for the unexpected gift, hearing his hunger, for giving him a sign of his presence in his life. At that moment, Miguel felt a profound peace envelop him. Physical hunger had been satisfied, but the hunger of his soul had also been eased. He knew that God was with him, even in the toughest time, and would never abandon him. From that day on, Miguel's life transformed completely. He lived happily with Grandma Madalena, helping her with the household chores and learning from her wisdom and experience. He had finally found a home, a family, and a better future. Miguel's story and Grandma Madalena's teach us that kindness and love can transform lives. It reminds us never to judge people by appearances, as often behind a tired face and worn-out clothes lies a pure soul and a heart full of hope. Miguel's story teaches us that faith, hope, and love are the most powerful tools we have to overcome life's obstacles. It reminds us that we are never alone, that God is always by our side, ready to hear, console, and guide us. It is a story that invites us to look up at the sky, not just with our physical eyes, but with an open heart, finding the inner strength to keep going, even when the stars seem to fade away. If you find yourself like Miguel, feeling sad, downcast and discouraged, thinking that God doesn't love you, doesn't hear you, or doesn't care about you, know that God is your best friend. He is a secure and present Father who loves you more than anything in this universe. Whenever you want to talk to Him, God will be there with attentive ears to listen to your cry. If you like this message, share it with your friends and help us grow our community of faith and hope. May this message, wherever it reaches, bear fruit and touch more and more lives. Subscribe to our channel and leave in the comments the story of your life. Who knows, one day, your story might appear here. God bless you, and see you in the next video.